On January 13, 2019, a new Gillette advertisement was uploaded to YouTube. The marketing team believes this will be a historic brand refresh. But just 8 hours later, user sentiment plummeted, and the hashtag Boycott Gillette soared to the top spot across the United States. What surprised the business world wasn't the negative reaction, but the unusual speed of its spread. Tens of thousands of comments, thousands of opposing videos, millions of views, all within less than a day. When we analyzed the data, one detail stood out in particular. The strongest responders were also the most loyal customer group. Those who have used Mach 3, Fusion, or ProGlide for decades suddenly declare, never going back. What really happened inside that day? Why did a 2-minute-long advertisement cause $17 billion in losses, leading P&G to record the largest loss in Gillette's brand history? And more importantly, why did millions of men, loyal customers for 10, 20, or even 50 years, choose to abandon the brand overnight? In this investigation, we will reopen the files, analyze the data, trace the comments, reactions, and internal documents to understand the truth behind this long decline. If you want to understand why the 2019 mistake created a $17 billion earthquake, we have to go back to where it all began. 1901, when King Camp Gillette invented the world's first safety razor. A small invention, but it opened up an industry worth tens of billions of dollars today. And that was also the moment an empire was formed. For decades, Gillette wasn't just a brand, they were the game. Every morning, millions of men across the United States repeat the same ritual. Picking up their Gillette razors, looking in the mirror, adjusting themselves, as an invisible oath of neatness and confidence. At its peak, Gillette held 70% of the global market share in the premium razor segment, meaning for every 10 men, 7 used Gillette. A level of dominance equivalent to a team winning 70 consecutive seasons is almost unbelievable. But Gillette's true power didn't lie in steel or technology. It's in the image. They cleverly transformed the razor into a symbol of masculinity, victory, and discipline, something any man would want to embody. In the 1950s, Gillette was every place, at every stadium and every major boxing match. By the 1980s, they dominated television. The Super Bowl, the Olympics, sporting events, all were associated with Gillette. The media at the time even joked that Gillette didn't need to find customers. Gillette just needs to turn on the TV and every man will come to them. The story becomes even more interesting when you look at the 2005 figures. P&G spent $57 billion to acquire Gillette, a massive deal equivalent to the value of an entire small country's economy. They believe nothing can threaten this monument. So where does the secret of invincibility come from? Market research reveals something few people know. When a brand is tied to identity, customers don't just buy a product, they buy a better version of themselves. Gillette has been doing that for over a century, and that's why the fall later was so painful. For over 100 years, Gillette didn't sell razors. They sell meaning to be men. But the most important investigative question to ask right now is, what could cause such an empire to begin to crack? What was happening behind the scenes that led a seemingly invincible brand to the brink of the biggest crisis in history? We'll find the answer in the next chapter. Can you guess where the first crack appeared? Try commenting your thoughts. To understand the 2019 explosion, we must look back at the early signs. The signs that Gillette itself, in its century-long confidence, failed to see or deliberately ignored. And when the facts were pieced together, it was realized that the empire had begun to crack long before the 2-minute commercial appeared. Around 2015, an interesting phenomenon appeared in market reports. Millennials were no longer shaving regularly. The beard trend, from hipster beards to designer stubble, spread across New York, Los Angeles, and London. If a man used to shave every morning, now he shaves only once a week, or not at all. This is like a city that used to consume water every day suddenly switching to drinking less bottled water. Demand decreases, and the massive supply system immediately falters. Gillette realized this too late. Reduced shaving frequency, decreased razor blade sales, weakened revenue. This is the first crack, small but alarming. And the question arises, if customers don't shave as often anymore, will they still need Gillette every day like before? The story doesn't end there. While Gillette was still basking in its historical glory, two quiet but highly effective names emerged in the market: Harry's and Dollar Shave Club. They don't have extremely powerful technology. There's no million-dollar advertising team. There's no 100 years of fame. But they have something Gillette no longer does: a price that makes users feel respected. A Gillette razor costs the same as a lunch. Meanwhile, Dollar Shave Club delivers razors right to your door for as little as the price of a loaf of bread. Every month, thousands, then hundreds of thousands of customers switch to DSC simply for one reason. I don't see a big difference between the two razors, except that Gillette is more expensive. If you imagine the razor market as a highway, this is the moment when the competitor in the next lane accelerates past the giant truck named Gillette, a vehicle too large, too heavy, and too slow to change direction. Beside that, the razor blade model that Gillette once highly valued has gradually lost its effectiveness. For decades, Gillette relied on a familiar model: sell the handle cheaply, sell the blades really expensively. But when competitors sell both items at 30–60% lower prices, this model becomes a burden. Users are starting to realize a harsh truth. Gillette has raised prices for years, but the quality hasn't increased much. This psychological impact is even more concerning than reduced revenue. It makes customers feel drained and unappreciated, and when this emotion is strong enough, it turns into something even more powerful than sales: distrust. Data from online comments from 2017-2018 reveals a chilling insight. Men are not brand loyal. They are loyal to respect. When they feel like they're just a walking wallet, not valued customers, they'll leave quietly and without warning. This is the cracked foundation. Perfect. Conditions for a chain reaction. If these cracks alone were enough to shake Gillette, what would happen when they released an ad that touched the most sensitive part of men, their self-esteem? Can you guess where the most sensitive spot for men is? Leave a comment. On January 13, 2019, at exactly 9:01 a.m. Eastern Time, a 2-minute video was uploaded to YouTube. In the Gillette boardroom, executives confidently awaited the familiar accolades: inspiring, innovative, courageous. But just 30 minutes after the video appeared, social media sentiment analysis data showed something unusual. The rate of negative reactions skyrocketed 12 times faster than previous campaigns. What happened in those 2 minutes? The TVC begins with images of teenagers pushing each other, unpleasant teasing, intense scenes related to bad behavior. The voiceover boomed, slow but full of weight, as if asking the whole society, is this the best that men can become? With a creative team, this is a positive message. But for the millions of men watching that video on Sunday morning, that question sounded like an accusation. One viewer commented, "This is not a reminder. This is an accusation." Every frame, every line of dialogue is no longer a TV commercial selling razors. It's like a social investigation film where the suspect is all men. Within just 12 hours, the hashtag Boycott Gillette rose to the #1 trending topic on Twitter across the United States. Gillette's social media monitoring department recorded that the spread of the protest videos was 8 times faster than the viral speed of the original advertisement itself. A series of videos show the man throwing razors into the trash, cutting up membership cards, or switching to a competitor's brand. It's noteworthy that many of them have used Gillette for 30–50 years. Why was the reaction so intense? Through analyzing thousands of comments, a recurring theme emerged like Morse code. No one wants to buy from a brand that sees itself as a problem. TVC accidentally touched upon the silent pain point that men have felt for years: being stereotyped, collectively judged, and seen as objects in need of repair. And when this message comes from a brand they've trusted their whole lives, the shock is even deeper. It doesn't feel like an annoying advertisement. The feeling is betrayal. One of the most interesting investigation files is the silence. Most users don't argue. They just quietly switch to Harry's, Schick, Dollar Shave Club. That's the most terrifying kind of silent boycott for any brand. No noise, no arguments, just walking away and never coming back. If just 2 minutes can trigger such a violent reaction, what makes the financial consequences so alarming that they wipe out $17 billion in brand value? And why did the CEO of Gillette say worth it? What do you predict will be the biggest mistake in the crisis management process? Let's try to leave our comments before we find the real answer in the next few minutes. In brand investigations, there's always a key question. Why is the same message praised for some brands and boycotted for others? In the case of Gillette, the answer doesn't lie in the advertising images or scripts. It lies in the psychology of the viewers, especially the loyal customer base that has been with us for decades. Adult men, the main breadwinners, and those responsible for their families. To understand why they were so outraged, the research team analyzed thousands of comments. And when you put them together, a collective psychological portrait emerges, clear enough to send a chill down your spine. A man watched the ad and wrote, "I don't feel inspired. I feel like I'm being accused." Many others repeated the same message with a similar structure, almost in unison. "The ad is offensive. You just told me that I am the problem. I'm not paying to be taught." In customer psychological analysis, this is a very strong reaction. It's like walking into a store you've known for 20 years, and the staff there saying straight to your face, "You're ruining this society." Not everyone can handle that feeling, especially when the speaker is the very brand they've trusted since they were teenagers. Gillette's TVC is presented as a behavioral profile with images of an endless crowd running, and the haunting question, is this the best men can be? In media, this way of phrasing the question is very dangerous. It makes many people perceive the message not as a reminder, but as an accusation against the entire male gender. Many comments use phrases like generalizing all men, collective blame. When a group of customers feel stereotyped, the brain triggers a natural defense response: rejection, reaction, departure. This is a psychological mechanism that cannot be taken lightly. A prominent view that emerges repeatedly is, Gillette is no longer on the side of American men. If in the past Gillette represented men's achievements, efforts, and discipline, they have now suddenly switched positions, from companion to judge. This change is like a close friend suddenly switching sides. No one was prepared for this twist, and the natural emotion is hurt. Many comments were very direct, almost a warning. "I will not pay for a brand that hates its customers." Gillette used to sell masculinity, but with just one TV commercial, they inadvertently touched the most sensitive part of that identity: self-esteem. When a brand breaks the unwritten agreement between them and their customers, the agreement that you buy the product and we respect you, the reaction is not just disappointment, but it's resistance. This is the reason why the boycott wave spread like wildfire. No one wants to support a brand that makes them feel like they are seen as a problem in society. In your opinion, what was Gillette's biggest mistake in this campaign? Leave a comment below so we can discuss together. And if emotions are already this tense, how big will the eerie financial consequences be? And why isn't the 7 billion figure the worst thing that's happened to Gillette? According to market reports, in just the 6 months following the We Believe ad, Gillette's revenue decreased by $350 million. To put it into perspective, that's equivalent to the revenue of a mid-range brand for 6 months, or the operating budget of a small city. What makes the situation serious is not just the sheer numbers, but the speed. Gillette lost $350 million faster than you can pull a card out of your wallet. The question now is, why did sales plummet so drastically with only a single advertisement? Typically, when a brand faces a crisis, users will argue, express their frustration, and then return. But with Gillette, the data indicates the opposite. Customers are leaving silently. Analysis of purchasing behavior shows Gillette search traffic decreased, repeat blade purchase volume decreased sharply, orders through retail chains plummeted, revenue from accompanying products like shaving cream and aftershave also plummeted. They didn't unsubscribe, no email response, no turning back, they just left. That is collective disappearance, the most alarming phenomenon in consumer psychology. Once trust is broken, customers immediately seek alternative addresses, and Gillette's competitors didn't miss the opportunity. Data shows Harry's new customer growth is 4 times faster than usual. Dollar Shave Club reports registration overload. Schick has its best growth quarter in nearly 10 years, A market expert likened this shift to the water in a large lake receding and flowing directly into three small rivers simultaneously. It's strong, fast, and almost irreversible. P&G, the parent company, was forced to take a step that any business would want to avoid. Write down the value of its brand. The published figure, $8 billion USD. To put the risk into perspective, this figure is equivalent to the GDP of a small country, 8 times the revenue of a mid-range razor company. It is the largest brand value decline in the history of the FMCG industry. This isn't just a paper loss, it's an official admission. The campaign has wiped out nearly all of the intangible assets accumulated over 100 years. And what makes this number even more terrifying is, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Thousands of user comments all share a common message. I'm leaving, and I'm not coming back. A 30-year user abandons the brand, losing 30 years of revenue. A 3-generation family abandons their brand, losing 90 years of tradition. When multiplied by millions, the consequences become a legacy disaster. This is why experts conclude, men's loyalty is not a renewable resource. Once it's lost forever. After a $17 billion fall, the unexpected happened. The CEO of Gillette declared, "Worth it." Why would a senior leader accept such a large loss? What is he protecting? Let's continue to learn together. 6 months after the boycott wave erupted, with revenue down $350 million and P&G forced to record an $8 billion loss, many people were expecting an apology, or at least a strategic reassessment. However, in a formal interview, the president of P&G's grooming division said, "It was worth it." That moment was like a fire department entering a fire, and then pouring on more oil instead of water. The entire business analyst community and consumers alike were stunned. Internally within the company, this statement aims to express a firm stance. Gillette wants to pursue a new positioning, regardless of short-term financial losses. But for customers, especially the millions of men who felt offended, the message they received was completely different. Our opinions don't matter. Our money doesn't matter. Our feelings are even less important. In consumer psychology research, this is called the emotional denial effect, when a brand makes customers feel their hurt is meaningless. When trust is broken, this is the worst thing that can be done. Many analysts liken the CEO's statement to announcing, "We are willing to lose billions more to pursue this message." In a context where sales are plummeting, competitors are accelerating, and customers are leaving and not returning, this is a worrying sign. The brand is no longer on the side of the user, but on the side of an ideological statement. This separation transformed the boycott from temporary to permanent, and from a media reaction into a consumer statement. In your opinion, is the CEO's statement courageous or irresponsible toward customers? And if the CEO publicly accepts an $8 billion loss, what is Gillette really giving up? And does the brand still have a chance to return to its golden age? For many years, Gillette built an image as a man's companion, strong, confident, and well-groomed. But in just one campaign, that image did a 180, from supportive to judgmental. The message of the advertisement is like a doctor not asking the patient what they need, but standing from afar and saying, "You have to change." Customers don't need a moral role model. They need respect. This is the first lesson. A brand can inspire, but it cannot stand taller than its customers. Behavioral analysis data reveals a clear truth. Customers are leaving not because they oppose the positive message, but because they don't accept how Gillette is delivering it. The more the message is repeated in an imposing tone, the wider the gap between the brand and the customer becomes. In the FMCG industry, where purchasing decisions are made in 3 seconds, that distance is a breaking point. Gillette once represented a better version of men, but after the incident, many customers said, "I no longer see myself in that brand." A brand cannot survive if it loses its connection with the very people who created it. This is a hard-earned lesson for every company. Positioning can change, but brand DNA must remain consistent. The $17 billion loss is just a number on a report. The real loss lies elsewhere, in the trust, loyalty, and usage habits of millions of people. Those are assets that cannot be rebuilt with a budget. It can't be bought back with advertising. It cannot be recovered by stalling. if just one campaign can erase 118 years of trust? So where is the line between an inspiring brand and a brand that elevates its customers? And can Gillette win back the hearts of men, or is it too late? Do you think brands today are repeating Gillette's mistakes? The Gillette boycott was not just a media incident. It's a clear reminder that customer trust is the easiest thing to lose and the hardest thing to regain. A discordant message, a moment of inattentiveness, can shake a century-old empire. So in your opinion, what's the biggest lesson from this 7 billion fall? Does the brand need to change its messaging, or do we need to change the way we listen? Please share your perspective below. I'd love to read your analysis. If you enjoy business investigative reports like this, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the next shocking business stories. The video content is based on public data, market documents, and independent analysis. The video is not intended to attack any individual, organization, or brand, but solely serves educational purposes, market analysis, and research. All opinions are subjective and do not represent any organization.